This is Scattered Matters. I'm Scat.
And I'm Maddie. I was doing some yard work last week, and my neighbor Kim asked,
You ever think plants might secretly hate us for all the trimming or forgetting to water them? What if they can feel every snip?
Hate us? I don't think they can feel anything, Maddie. I mean, they don't have nerves or brains. They can't feel pain, at least. Not like we do.
No, really. There have been several scientific studies about this. Apparently, plants kind of freak out and scream when they're cut and cry out when they're thirsty.
Really? Freak out and cry? Okay, tell me more about this botanical breakdown.
Well, oddly enough, I read about studies where scientists discovered that stressed out plants emit ultrasonic screams. Other plants might even hear these sounds. They set up super sensitive microphones to pick up sounds between 20 and 100 kilohertz. That's way above what we can hear. They recorded tomato and tobacco plants letting out ultrasonic clicks whenever they got stressed.
So every time I skip watering for a day or prune my tomato plants, they're screaming in some tiny high-pitched Morse code? Save me?
Exactly. They make some kind of ultrasonic clicking noise for each type of stress, like dehydration or being cut. It's kind of like plant SOS.
You mean they could hear the difference between when they were cut and when they were thirsty?
Totally. They put these plants in little soundproof chambers. Then when they cut them, they let out this huge ultrasonic burst. The thirsty ones emitted constant clicks that got louder and louder the drier they got. It's like they're saying,
Hey you, I'm dying of thirst over here. I need some water.
Holy crap, they actually scream when they're cut or thirsty?
yeah. And somewhere I read that other plants nearby reacted with bursts of sound as if they were startled by the screams of their siblings. It's hard to imagine that being real.
Great, now I feel like the villain in their Little Plant horror movie. Every time I snip, they're like,
The mad trimmer is coming, brace yourselves.
but what's actually making these sounds? Are they actually vocalizing?
No, they're not actually talking. Scientists think it's from little air bubbles inside the plant's pipes, their vascular system. When the plant is super thirsty or hurt, these bubbles pop, causing these high-frequency clicks. What's even cooler, other plants or animals might even be able to pick up on these sounds. It's like an alert broadcast system.
Oh yeah? Maybe Mr. Caterpillar hears the stressed-out tomato and says, Nah, I'll find a fresher one. Meanwhile, the other plants are probably taking notes. Did you hear that? We better get ready for a drought.
Right. Imagine if there's a whole neighborhood alert system for plants like, the drought is coming, time to dig deeper, or watch out, the locusts are coming.
I'm guessing your little buddy Hanzo can probably hear these screams, since dogs can hear up to 60,000 hertz. So, if Hanzo suddenly perks up when you're trimming the plants, he might be wondering, why are you making them scream like this?
You're telling me Hanzo has been listening to their tiny screams this whole time?
Yep, your little canine spy. He might know more about your plants' inner lives than you do.
All right, Hanzo, from now on, you're the yard maintenance supervisor. If the tomato starts screaming, give me a bark, okay?
Poor Hanzo. He's probably going to develop a complex every time you make a salad now.
He'll be like, no, not the cilantro.
Another cool thing I love is how the plants can sense so many other things, like where the light is coming from and posing for a sunbeam like it's a fashion show, and sensing the weather and temperature, waiting for the perfect timing to strike a pose.
Here's another thing. Some say that established plants even have memories. Apparently, they can sort of learn from past experiences. Like if a rabbit had a feast on one last year, it might just be like, nah, I'm not blooming early again. Not after last year's disaster.
So maybe they're thinking, remember that time with the rabbit? Let's just wait till the rabbits move on to the neighbor's yard.
When you really think about it, plants are pretty amazing. They warn each other of impending doom. It's basically plant Twitter, a whole network of posts about caterpillar invasions, weather updates, or whatever. And some plants even take it up a notch, calling in backup. They release chemicals to attract the caterpillar's predator, like wasps. It's like dialing 911 when the neighborhood bully shows up again.
We're under attack. Call in the wasps.
And don't forget about the plants that seem to actually feel things, like the Mimosa pudica. It's such a drama queen. You barely touch it and it folds up like, no thank you, you're not my type.
Maybe it's just trying to scare off bugs. But seriously, it does seem a bit snooty, so uptight. And what about the Venus flytrap? Those things kind of give me the creeps. They eat flies and stuff.
So, plants may not actually feel pain or fear, but they have their own ways of handling business. Ultrasonic screams, perfect sun posing, caterpillar gossip, and calling in the big muscle.
Honestly, I'll never look at the garden the same way again. We now know that plants aren't just sitting there. They're always putting out signals. It's just us who are oblivious.
Yep, and they've been screaming to high heaven while we go about snipping and picking. It turns out the garden's been a drama show this whole time, and we're the clueless villains.
From now on, I'm going to water these guys every day. We can't have them plotting revenge.
Exactly. Next time you see one of those Save the Plants t-shirts, just know, it's not a joke. They're watching and maybe even screaming. Please remember to subscribe. Go ahead, push that button. You know you want to.